Hello there, this is quite an unusual video for me, but since this thing is a bit more complicated in its inner workings than my other stringers, I figured I'd make a little tutorial on how to assemble it. For printing you will need all this, it's all in the base folder. Make sure to print this little pin, it's called trigger pin, twice, and the muzzle pin twice. If you want to make the long version with the long barrel, instead of the muzzle piece here, you just print the long muzzle. It attaches the same way. If you want to make the stock, you will need to print 2 additional trigger pins because they are used as little pins here and here. And yeah, that's all that's there to consider when printing this. Right, let's go over the prints. We got the frame. These are the muzzle pins, the trigger pin, which holds the trigger itself, and the grip insert. We have this little pin, which holds the lever that's actuated by the trigger. This holds the 2 loops that are used for priming, and this is the pin that holds the entire thing together, goes into the thing down there. Right, this is how the trigger setup works internally. This is the little lever that releases the string later, and you just press it, then it pushes this down, sort of. This is a bracket to hold everything together. This is for releasing the entire thing, just catches with this hook. An elite insert, so you can shoot megas and elites. And this is cosmetic stuff. This little thing is a small retention that you put into the barrel, so mega darts won't fall out. So this little tooth digs into the mega dart. I had to do that because I couldn't just make a flush diameter because, well, mega darts are horrendously manufactured and they vary wildly in their diameter. Right, let's get into building. First of all, you take the... Well, maybe I should get into what other tools you might need. Hardware-wise, you'll just need a good piece of elastic band. Oh, I'm making a mess here. Good. A cutter for your band. Pliers. You will need those to route the elastic through some tighter parts that your fingers might not be able to get into. A lighter to singe the ends of your elastic so it holds longer, because if you don't do that, it'll just start, I don't know, untangling, unraveling, and then it won't last very long. It'll eventually untie itself. And a hammer, if you have like a little stiff connection, if your printer isn't like going that precise or anything. If a pin won't go in at all, you might be better off just reprinting the entire thing, not the entire thing, but the pin, because you don't want a big part like this splitting. Could be quite annoying with slower printers. Right, let's get into it. First of all, you take the rear, then you take the trigger. You move the trigger in through the front here. I'll show it again. Through here, and then down here. I hope it shows good filament colors, so everything is nicely seen. So you line those up here, take one of the trigger pins, and then you kind of move it in there. Fits just fine. It won't fall out, and it's very easy to move. Right, next part. You take this. We'll need this pin for it, the slightly longer one. Then you take your string, move it around those little notches, so it looks like this. This has to face downwards. And you take it like this, then you move it through the top, the gap up here, in there. Make sure it sticks out through that side. Push the trigger forward a bit, and then you line it in there. I'm gonna secure it right now and show you how it has to look inside, because it's quite tricky to do both camera and this. So you see here, this was successful. The trigger has to be above the lever that we just added. If it doesn't, it just won't be able to actuate the entire thing. But yeah, the little notch from the trigger is right there above. Good. Then we can take the lever here. This has to be like this. Put it aside for a bit. Then we take the bracket. This side has to face like towards the rear. We take the long pin for the bracket, put it in there. Take the right loop. The right loop has this notch towards the inside, so they are like this in the end. So the notch is inside. It's used to like keep the loops aligned with the rail here. Whoop. Where did that go? There it is. Then we can put that in there. So it looks like this. Right, let's bring that into position. That fell out, that's not good. Yeah, this thing is a little tricky to assemble. Right, let's do that the proper way again. Don't jank it. So, I'm sorry if this is all a little bit fiddly. I am not used to filming while assembling stuff. So you just line it all up, kind of. Push that pin in. Right, so still these have to be up here. And don't push it through fully, just up until that point. And let's get that into position as well. See if we are lined up. Should be good. Yeah, and now it just clicks in. Right. Whoop, sorry, I moved the camera. Now we tie a knot up here once all of that is secured. And don't make this too tight. You want to be able to move this and this. It just has to return. Not much force on that. Right, now do a double knot. Make sure that knot is nice and tight. Then we cut that. Sorry if I'm making anyone cringe with my cutter handling, but doing this in front of the camera is very awkward for me. Right, this seems good. Now we take a lighter and singe this very carefully. Don't keep it in the heat for too long. You don't want this to start burning. Good. Now this has to move, this has to move. That's the reassembly done. Mostly. Right, to the front. First we insert this little thing. It goes into the little hole back here. Just push it in. Good. Should be a friction fit. If it's not a friction fit, I'll pull it out again. You can just push something into it, like a little piece of filament scrap, or maybe like last time mine didn't fit too well when it was too loose. I could just jam a bit of a zip tie in with it, and then it would just fit. The clearance on that is a very tricky thing because it's just a tiny little square in the print and it's very hard to do. Your mileage might vary with this fit, so you could just glue it. Gluing is also an option. Generally with all these pins, if they are too loose, just a tap of glue on the end where it doesn't have to move, and then it'll most likely fit well. Right, now we made this. Just put this through here. So yeah, this is all nicely aligned. Then we take our big pin and push it through. See, works nice. Good, time for the band. first you just push it through the front here. Like there's a little gap for that. Push it through here, then through there, and through the front again. Now this is where you will need the pliers or any other like little pincers or whatever they're called. Could also work well. These are not good pliers. Well, they were free and from a brewery, so there we go. The camera is really in the way for this. It's also just a phone suspended by a couple of rolls of plaster thingies. Right, now we make a light knot, a single knot. Check how that tension is. If it's still very squishy, you might want to like increase the tension on here just by pulling these. Then you hold them. Yeah, that's good. Still hold them. You can break it open. See if that works. If it still easily primes, you might be able to like get away with a little extra tension. Try it again. Yeah, this seems good. You will want to have a little bit of resistance on the last few centimeters of the travel. Then you tie another knot on top, and that's the most tricky part done. Getting the right tension is a bit of a calibration thing. Would have been smarter to maybe just use scissors for this, but these are what I have right now. Singe it again. Good. Next up, we'll add in the cosmetic pieces. Oh, why are you not going in there? Make sure this doesn't get in the way. Then it should just click on. Right. It's secured with the short pins. So let's push those in there. Good. Then we take this, and that's just secured with a pin back here. Oh, that's going a little bit stiff. So just take a hammer and carefully tap it in. Not too much force. Should go relatively smoothly. But of course, depends on what printer settings you have. Not settings, but you know what I mean. Tolerance. Right, we can do a little test fire. I just got a Mega Dart. Holds in nicely. Just push it in far enough so it's like here. Works. Then, last piece. Thank you for messaging me. The Mega insert. This is supposed to be hot swapped. So if you want to shoot Mega, you can just pull it out. To get it in the easiest, you prime the entire thing so the string doesn't get in the way. And you have these little notches, like you see here, up there and down there. And the way this works is just like a N-Stride Elite thingy. Not Elite thingy, but barrel lock was the word I was looking for. So you line it up, send it in there, and when it's all the way back there, you still have your finger in there, and then you twist it. So yeah, should maybe give a little click, maybe not. Could also just be like rolling in smoothly. But yeah, now it doesn't like obstruct anything anymore. And now you can load just regular size darts. I'm using these work at Gen 3 Plus, and they work rather well for me. Good, that's it. I'll also present this in a more showcase kind of video, but this just has been the video for assembly. Yeah, I'll also have picture instructions for the people that buy this. Just put into the files, into the folder with the rest of the files. So you can reference that instead of clicking through the video a million times. But I think if you've seen it once and then have some picture reference, it will be kind of easy to assemble. Good. Thank you for watching and have fun with this thing.